Hi, for this video, I'm going to just show you how to solve a quadratic sequence or how to answer questions about quadratic sequence. Just give you theory behind it and give you an example and a couple of questions on how they could actually ask you to solve or answer questions around quadratic sequences. Okay, so a quadratic sequence, a quadratic equation. So if you're talking about quadratic, you're talking about something like this. So you're talking about y is equal to a x squared plus b x plus c. Right, that's your quadratic. So, but in this context, you're going to talk about a quadratic sequence. So, meaning that you're going to observe a sequence that gives you a quadratic pattern, right? So meaning you're gonna have a sequence like T1, T2, T3 up to probably infinity or Tn, right? Let's just say Tn, and you have to observe when you look at this sequence, you see that there is a first difference, which is T2 minus T1, and the second difference T3 minus T2, and so on, right? And there's another third difference, right, which is, let's call it D. So after observing this, when you're having all of these three differences, then you see that the third difference is common, but the second difference is different, right? Then that is a quadratic sequence, right? If you're trying to find the difference between your sequences and you find that the first difference is different and you find the second difference is common, then that's your quadratic sequence. Okay, so a formula for a quadratic sequence is basically Tn is equal to an squared plus bn plus c. As you can see, it's similar to this, what you know, right? But in this context, you're gonna use Tn instead of y, you're gonna use n instead of x. But really, these are dummy variables, so they mean the same thing. Okay, so how do we solve this? How do we actually solve this? Okay, so now to solve for this, now for example, to solve for a, what you need to do, or probably to solve for Tn is equal to an squared plus bn plus c, you need to find a. That's the first thing. You need to find a, you need to find b, you need to find c. Okay, now how do we do that? So you have a situation like this. So you have T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, all the way to Tn minus 1 to Tn. Okay, so the first thing you find the difference is T2 minus T1, T3 minus T2, T4 minus T3, T5 minus T4. Okay, all the way to Tn minus Tn minus 1. And then you find the second difference. The second difference has to be the same. Okay, so it has to be the same. D, let's call it D, value D, value D, value D. Okay, now another thing that probably, which is important that you need to observe from this is, now to solve for this, T1 is equal to A plus B plus C. Okay, and then this here, T2 minus T1 should be equal to 3A plus B. Then D should be equal to 2A. So what we are taking away from this is these formulas here. Let me write the different colors. Okay, so what you're taking away from this is this formulas here is this one. The first one is 2A is equal to D. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is this one, 3A plus, this was supposed to be plus, 3a plus b, different color. 3a plus b is equal to t2 minus t1, the first difference. And third one is this one here. A plus b plus c is equal to t1. So that's your that formula that you need to use. So now if you have to solve for a, b, and c, this is what you're gonna use, right? So basically, so what you can say here is use above formulas to solve for a, b, and c in Tn is equal to an squared plus bn plus c. Simple. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you are given the query, given a sequence -3, -2, -3 again, -6, and -11. Okay, and you find your first difference. So your first difference will be -2 minus -3, so which is 1. Second difference will be -3 minus -2, which is, so -3 minus -2, that's basically -1. And -6 minus -3, that's -3. Right, so -11 minus -6, that's -5. Okay, so we said -2 minus -3, that's 1. And we said -3 minus -2, that's -1. -6 minus -3, -3, and so on. Okay, cool. And let's find our second difference. So you're gonna have -1 minus 1, that's -2. And say -3 minus -1, it's -2. Say -5 minus -3, that's -2. So that's your first, second, third difference. And then from this here, what we are saying is this here is equal to 2a, and saying this here is equal to 3a plus b, and this here is equal to a plus b plus c. So basically we're saying 2a is equal to -2, and then from here you can solve for a. So you're going to say 2a -2, so you're going to divide by 2 on both sides, and then 2 and 2 cancel. You're going to have a, and -2 over 2 is -1. Cool. And then that's the first one. The second one will be 3a plus b is equal to 1. Okay, you already have a, so substitute a in there. So you're going to have 3, -1 plus b is equal to 1. That's -3 plus b is equal to 1. Take this, put the other side. So it's going to be b is equal to 1 plus 3, right? So your b is equal to 4. Cool. Now let's take this. So you have a plus b plus c is equal to -3. Guess what? You already have a. You already have b. Your a is -1. Your b is 4. That 4. C is equal to -3, right? And then -1 plus 4. You can take your calculator and punch -1 plus 4. But really, it's 4 minus 1, which is 3, plus c is equal to -3. And then you have c is equal to -3 minus 3. And then your c is -6. Cool. So you've solved for a and b and c. And then what you have, remember your equation is Tn is equal to a n squared plus bn plus c. So Tn is equal to a is -1. So you don't have to write -1n squared. You can just say -n squared, right? And then bn is 4n and c is -6. So that's your answer. So So that's basically how you do it.